really your first day. You're just laying out the composition. You're also starting to identify some warm whites as well as some cool lights. And that's going to be done on your palette. Now the second day, you're going to start really pushing some of those details and make the form more solid in general. So I need your first day to look very gestural. And then we're going to slowly start building it as a solid form. I don't have it for the third day, but you'll see a finished one by the end of the project. Okay, let me set up here for a second. So you have a variety of bags to choose from. Some of them are just all white, and some have stripes on them, varying colors. And I'm okay with, if you have stripes and you want to be working outside of the realm of whites, that's completely okay for this project. But a variety, I think most of you will probably end up using just a white bag. We have a variety of lights in the building, and that is going to change the temperature of your bag. So if you want to have radical changes between the temperatures of your white, you're going to need a spotlight, and I can help with that next week. Okay. So what we're going to use next week is you're going to use a black. You can use the ivory or the lamp black. I'm going to show you raw umber, a raw sienna, a French ultramarine, a yellow ochre, and a titanium white. Now, it might sound like these are the only sets of colors you can choose from, but they're not. So if the bag that you have of cobalt is more appropriate or Prussian blue is more appropriate, we can talk about that. But for now, this is a kind of easy, probably correct way of addressing the palette on your first day. And if we need to adjust the blues or the blacks or the yellows, we can do that together. I'm trying to figure out how to, I'll just show you. So what today is really two demos in one. I'm going to be showing you how to mix a family of colors, and I'm going to be showing you how to start this project. So there's always some kind of sense to your palette, and I'll try and show you how color needs to meet your palette. So I tend to work, I don't want my palette to be nonsense or chaotic. I need there to be a rhythm to the order of my colors. So I end up usually making the darker tones on the top of my page and then the lighter tones at the bottom. That way colors don't get contaminated. Let's see. I'm going to show you the difference between a yellow ochre and a sienna. A yellow ochre, I like to say it's prettier, but it's essentially just a little bit brighter. I love a yellow ochre, but you might find that it's a little bit too bright. This is a raw sienna. So make sure we don't have an enormous amount of paint next week. I will be ordering more, but be specific about the yellow you're using. You don't need two yellows, but I just want to show you what the difference is. And then your white, you might end up having two bits of white, but you'll refill white more often than your other colors, as it's primarily a white painting. Do I have? So I'm using the French ultramarine on this one. But there's Prussian and cobalt and every kind of blue possible for you. Okay, palette knife. I'm going to use this one, if you don't mind. Okay, so what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up making a family of colors. And there's trial and error to this, and there's probably a little bit of frustration to it. So embrace that unknown. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to use my white and probably a small amount of sienna. Now, if you were to use just 2 colors right out of the tube, you're going to find that the color looks maybe a little bit superficial. The more colors you add to a swatch of paint, the more sophisticated it ends up looking. I'm using white, ochre, and the sienna right now. And then I dab this blue in it. So the blue tends to settle the brightness of the yellow, and there's a twinge of green in it. But so we're going to start building a family. I actually have a hard time doing this, pointing to you. So can I point to me? Okay. Okay. So if you guys want to get closer, you can. But essentially, I don't want to be making colors that are independent from each other. They actually need to be a family of colors and somehow related to each other. So you're building off of the color that you made previously. You're not derailing from it. You're not going in a different direction. Do you see how they all kind of are the same and different? Like you could tell that they're a family somehow. They have the same qualities about them. But that's primarily because I'm using the same colors. But I'm also, the residue that's at the back of my palette, I bring to the next piece. So if I wanted to start working with grays, I don't want to completely deviate from the color before. I want to make sure that I'm building off of each other. So the reason that I just picked up a bunch of white, but there's all this sort of residue from the back of my palette. And I'm using that to make a bridge in between the colors. Does that make sense? But it feels like, so I have these warmer whites, and I'm slowly introducing cooler whites, systematically. I'm not going from here, and then I'm jumping to here, and then I'm moving here, and then I'm making something completely unrelated. They have to be related to each other in the first stages of your painting. They have to be somewhat, I call them a family of colors, because they're somehow related to each other. Does that make sense? Now, as you start painting, what you observe might be slightly different than what you've mixed, and you need to readjust the colors that you've mixed. So you're active. You're not like, oh, these are the only colors that I have available to me, and I won't adjust. You will have to adjust once you set eyes on that bag. Okay, so we'll leave this for now. They might be the wrong colors, but you get the idea of a family of colors. So I'm going to gesture the start. Now, it's really important that your bag is compositionally addressed. That you're not just making a bag, like a painting you don't want to make is a bag that basically echoes the edges of the canvas. You want to make sure that you're activating the whole space. So I might adjust my bag that a corner comes to me, that I'm not painting it like this, because all I'm going to have are a bunch of stripes, right? So you can also move the bag this way, or whatever you want to do is completely fine by me, but I need it to be compositionally thoughtful. Don't just take whatever your neighbor is doing for something you have to do. make sure that when you're painting that you can see your painting and the object simultaneously, that you're not doing this. And I saw this with a few of you, that you do this, and then you go like this to look at what you're painting. And what you're doing is you are memorizing the object, and you are not actually reacting to it truthfully at all. It's just a symbol that you've memorized. So, So as you can probably tell, I can't talk and paint at the same time because my brain is using two different sides of my brain. So just sort of bear with me. What you're looking at is gesture. The spirit of it is gesture. You're not trying to control everything. You're going to be wrong, and I'm going to be wrong. But I'm going to embrace that and try and react to it.